What is up, everybody? It is me, BlazeBuster, here for another video, and today I'm doing something a little different. I posted in the Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra subreddit, give me your hot takes, and I'm gonna do a video about them. I gathered some hot takes from the subreddit. There isn't a ton, so it's probably not gonna be a super long video, but just a few to have some fun, you know. Okay, so let's get right into it. First, from Mindful Bodybuilding, we have, for me, it's the funnest MOBA. I was playing Wild Rift the most, but don't even care about ranking up in it at all, as I do in Squadra. I don't care about maintaining points for leaderboard anymore either, too, so it feels funner than stressful. I'm always hyped for the next new character, such as Kefla coming soon. It's true it's not on the scale of MOBAs like League of Legends or Wild Rift, but you can still outplay even the more OP champs with OG champs, for example. I've outplayed top 20 techs using Hit and Ultimate Gohan with Majin Buu. Kinda true. First and foremost, you gotta realize that the game is a mobile game, unfortunately. I wish they would take it a little bit more serious, but that's their primary goal. That's their primary market. Like, you know for a fact that the mobile market for this game is going to be 10 times, probably more like 100 times, because it's simple, right? It's like matches take anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. The controls are easy. It doesn't take anything too hard to run. I've seen literal gaming setups on phones for this game. Like, 100%. Like, this game is not super serious. You can take it super serious if you'd like. That's what I like about it, is the fact that you can take it serious if you'd like. As for you can outplay old champs, as he says, with the new ones with old, true. Thankfully, it hasn't felt completely power crept. I mean, obviously, the worst I think I've seen so far is tanks. Like, it feels like if you're not playing Vegeta or Bardock, you're kind of trolling, but I feel like that's mostly more of a FOMO thing, where they are trying to get you to play as specific tanks because they want you to buy the new ones. Definitely think they're both going to get nerfed at some point, or at the very least buff the other tanks. We've seen them buffing tanks, like they just buffed Cooler. They haven't really touched most of the other ones, if I remember correctly, but definitely interesting. I think this is a little bit of a hot take. A lot of people in this community take it very seriously, sometimes more seriously than they need to, so a little bit of a hot take. We got here, maybe not a hot take, from Popular Union 909. But even if they remove bots from matchmaking, it won't make much of a difference because half the player base lacks common sense / don't understand the game and play it like it's the first time they've ever played. No help attacking / defending towers, no help securing bosses, just aimlessly flying around the map, farming and getting into fights. Had a prime example in my previous match. Senna just arrived at bottom lane, yet Vegeta was top lane, hiding in the clouds, protecting Jack crap. It's things like that that make you think at least a bot would have helped defend at least. That's not the only time I've had that happen. It's gotten to the point where I've seriously questioned myself at times, like, is that the meta? What's going on? Why do I see people defending a lane without Zeno while their team gets jumped? Then they come all late while the tower's practically gone and team's dead. Also had Goku just go for the tower while it was getting defended by two people that are 1 to 2 levels above ours, instead of helping me get the Kai, that they were ignoring to defend their tower. If this game doesn't want you winning, it'll put you with players that genuinely make you wish there was a bot in their place instead. And then I found a comment here that I kind of agree with. Zombie Zeke comic. Not even a hot take, but I fully agree. There are players in the game that are completely brain dead. I'd like to assume it's kids who just discovered the game and are somewhat playing it, and it's extremely weird when I encounter them in B rank or higher. Now, what he says here is true. Brain dead players or kids, but you also got to remember, like I said, mobile. On mobile, people are probably just playing for whatever. Not, or they just their volume's off, or they're just playing to pass the time. And you also got to remember Dragon Ball as a franchise is huge. It is one of the biggest franchises. I think it's in the top 10 most popular franchises in the world. I'll fact check myself on that. But at the very least, it is one of the biggest franchises to ever exist. Because of that, it has a lot of fans who just aren't good at games. Unfortunately, it's the truth. You'll have people who play these games and they just want to have fun or pass the time, or they think they are good, but in reality, they're just not. And where that comes into play is like mobile or Switch players. Both of them could very well be just people who barely know what they're doing. So I think it's true. The game, when you see somebody do something terrible and you just assume it's a bot, honestly, half the time I don't think it's actually a bot. I just think it's another player who just either doesn't know what they're doing or just doesn't care what they're doing. Some people don't take this game that seriously, and maybe they'll have like a winning streak where they get a bunch of wins back to back and then rank up to B rank, and because of that, they don't know what they're doing, but they're still in B rank. Well, what's going to happen when they encounter people who take the game seriously? They're going to lose, and then lose, and lose. And since you don't fall letter ranks, they'll get back to B4 and then just stay there. So obviously you're going to get paired with them. So like, it makes sense. We got one from Sufficient Team 4505. Most of the players who complain are not as good as they believe they are. Most players are not as good as they believe they are. The game itself is solid. The community is the worst problem the game will have. Some of the rotating modes should be implemented permanently or have modes in rotation. Yeah, I kind of agree. A lot of people who complain generally are just complaining because they're losing. And complaining has kind of become the meta in gaming. Like, it used to be if there was something wrong with the game, you either just got upset about it, didn't really say much, or you did vocalize it, or you just kind of got over it. Nowadays, we kind of just complain all the time. This isn't just with games in general, but even with games, even good games. Like, I think Marvel Rivals is one of the greatest games we've ever had. I think the amount of free content they give out, the amount of content they make in general is just absolutely insane. Like, if you went back 10 years ago or 20 years ago and talked about a game that pumps out as much content as Marvel Rivals, you would think, holy crap, this is like the greatest game to ever exist. But we've been so conditioned to think that somehow they're doing everything wrong. And of course, there are some things they do wrong. They're not perfect. And of course, you know, sometimes the balancing is blah, but a different game entirely. But just because I personally was feeling when I was playing this game, I felt a little annoyed at the lack of content sometimes. But then I realized, I took a step back, and I realized Squadra does not have the development team of Rivals. I got so conditioned into how much content Rivals was pushing out that when I played a game like Squadra, which releases stuff pretty regularly, I felt like they were slow. And that's just because I've been so conditioned to the bam, 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 bam content that games like Squadra just can't keep up with that. And the game itself is very solid. Like he says, it's got a good baseline, you know, it's fun. It's really taken the whole MOBA thing and streamlined it. And with some of the rotating modes should be implemented permanently or have more modes. I think I agree. I've not played a lot of them, but when I do play them, they are actually kind of fun. I think my favorite was probably the Radish one. That one was really fun. It's not like something I'd spend all my time doing, but I do really like them. Next up, we got Accomplished Mix 3866. S rank is sweet to achieve only because of the frustration with bad teammates, bots, and facing 4 stacks. Yes, 100% agree. Of course, you know, there's that feeling you finally made it to the top. I've made it to S rank twice now, back in season 1 and 2. I took a little bit of a break, so I only got S rank in, like, I believe in season 1 I got damage and tank. I almost got tech, and then season 2 I only got tank. But it is still fun, and it's definitely, the game is a lot better once you reach S rank, I will say. Of Of course, you still have bad players, but you encounter a lot of better players on both teams, which lead to more balanced games, which is a lot more fun. And below that, by Father Doodle, we have people take it way too serious. It's a Dragon Ball game. Use your favorite characters and have fun and get better every time you play. What would Goku do? Exactly. It is a Dragon Ball game, which means there's going to be a lot of casuals. There's going to be more casuals. There's going to be more casuals than there are sweats. Let's be real here. The Dragon Ball community is full of people who are just kind of, let's be honest, they don't really care. Like, people who just like watching Dragon Ball because flashy fights and big buff muscles and fighting and screaming, when that is just like this much of what Dragon Ball is. I've met people like that, and I myself am not a Dragon Ball fan for that reason. Honestly, I like almost everything about Dragon Ball as just a concept about everything. And I think that the reason this game is so good to me is it takes those things I love and puts them into a game that's fun. Like, it's dumb, but when I saw freaking Tambourine in Squadra, I was like, oh, Tambourine! Like, a lot of your more casual Dragon Ball fans don't even know who that guy is. Or Pilaf Machine, a little bit more because he was in some of the games, but again, it's just a Dragon Ball game. You're supposed to have fun. And of course you can take it serious. Every game can be taken serious, but because it's a Dragon Ball game, you should focus on having fun first. Alright, we got Defender Death Metal here. Number 1, full of bot players who immediately disconnect after throwing for the first 5 minutes. 2, game has been dead since month after launch. 3, player base is absolutely dog crap, with most being throwers who go to rank to practice new characters, etc. Honestly, can't even be arsed to write more because there is more, but I don't really play this game anymore, so I don't really give an F. And then below that, someone said Gekishin has not been dead since after launch. And below that, we have, by MOBA standards, this game is deader than dead. The fact that you have to hit the 4th highest rank in the game to not see bots is screaming that. Could you imagine if League, Dota, whatever the F else came out with news that you'll be forced into bot matches all the way from Iron up to Platinum before you mostly see real players? So, I'm going to get more into the dead game thing at a later post, a later take, because I read some of these beforehand. But first, full of bot players. Again, not every bot is an actual bot. Sometimes they're just, well... So, full of bot players who immediately DC. It is true, but it is also not true. In my experience, there are a lot of people who just surrender instantly. And of course, 3 people have to agree, so most of the time it doesn't go through. And for the throwing thing, 100%. Like, I have had so many throwers, and it is so annoying. But this isn't just a Squadra thing. And I don't think we should be blaming Squadra for this. It's the same problem that every competitive game has had since, let's be honest, Overwatch. Overwatch had this problem. Rivals has this problem. Squadra now has this problem. Fortnite has this problem. Not as much, but it still has this problem. And it's not a game problem. This is a people problem. For some reason, people get into their head that if one thing goes wrong, they have to throw. And I don't get it. And it's something the developers can't do anything to fix. They can crack down on throwers and punish them harder and try to alleviate that problem, which they've been doing. People aren't giving Squadra enough credit for the fact that they are actively trying to fix these problems we are having. One of my favorites is, we were complaining about the star grade. People don't like the star grade. Well, they came out and said, we are going to fix the star grade system, but in full transparency they said, however, this being a huge system and part of the game, it may take a couple seasons or however long before we can finally get it fixed. And I like that transparency. That transparency is amazing. And they are trying to fix this throwing problem. But how do you fix the throwing problem? It's not like you can force people to play the game if they're starting to lose. If they choose to do that, game has been dead since month after launch. This is something that gets thrown around a lot. A lot of people are claiming that the game is dead. They think it's dead. No, the game is most definitely not dead. And if you think the game is dead, you need to sit back and think about what dead game really means. Because you can actually get a match. There are games out there where you literally can't get matches. Now, the game is making money. If the game is making money, that means the game is probably not dead. And the game is getting active support from Bandai Namco. It was even in the Dragon Ball Genki Dama livestream. They played it live, they did a bunch of stuff. They're getting full support from Bandai for this game. Now I want you to think here for a second. If Bandai is doing all of this for this game, do you really think it's dead? Like, obviously, it doesn't have as much players as games like League of Legends or Dota, but do you really think this game is dead? Bandai Namco? Okay, wait, I probably shouldn't say that. Bandai Namco? That company loves money. And if this game was a sinking ship, they'd be getting off of it real quick. But as of right now, they are all in this game, which I think is sick. Now, is the game as popular as it was at launch or Season 1? No, generally not. I can't see the future. It very well could eventually die. It could be another Breakers. But the game is the most popular Dragon Ball game right now. If you think this game is dead, then every other Dragon Ball game is dead. It just is the most popular Dragon Ball game right now. And I can back it up, and I will later in the video. We got one from Gullerb. The game is dead. Has been dead since a month after launch. The only thing keeping this dog crap MOBA alive is the Dragon Ball IP, keeping it on life support. Player base is dog crap. Even the top players in this game aren't that good in MOBA standards, just persistent. Compared to literally any other major MOBA release, there is very little strategic depth in the game. Balanced choices are dog crap. They just play musical chairs with who's OP. No real balance being thought of. Just who do we want to be broken for a month? Not even a hot take anymore. The vast majority of mobile players decided on the first week that this game is hot dog crap. That's why it barely scrapes past 1,800 users on Steam. Honestly, the hottest take out of the bunch is that even the top ranked players in this game would be bottom level competitive in games like League or Dota. Again, if you think this game is dead, based off of solely Steam charts, okay, you can say that. But what you fail to realize is that this game is on mobile, PS4, PS5, Switch 1 and 2. So, even if there's, let's round up, say 2,000 players on Steam, there is going to be probably double that on PS5 alone. You might be like, why? Well, I want you to sit here and think. Dragon Ball as an IP is huge. It is, like I said, one of the biggest in the world. And because of that, it has a lot of casual fans. A casual fan sees Squadra, gets Squadra, tries Squadra. It's free. They like it, so they play it more. The amount of casual Dragon Ball fans there are, I easily think there's more than 4,000 players on PlayStation right now. Honestly, it would not surprise me if it's upwards of 5 or more thousand. Now, let's just be generous to this comment. Let's say there's 2,000 on every platform. Steam, Switch 1, 2, which they would have the same servers, but let's just go ahead and use both. 4, PS4, PS5, and mobile, which 100% there's more than 2,000 people on mobile. So that's 12,000 players. Not bad at all, honestly. Now that's just being like this comment just staying where it is. That is also not taking into account that's just America. This game is probably bigger in Japan than it is America, because in Japan Dragon Ball is like, it's such a big deal that at the Olympics against China, they had Goku versus Sun Wukong as like the mascots. That's like America freaking making Goku the bald eagle. Like, so it would not surprise me if there's even more players in Japan than there are here in America. Now, the whole players of this game aren't good compared to other MOBAs. I don't think that's something you could say. Well, I mean, you could say it. What I'm saying is, if that's what you think, okay. I personally have never played League of Legends or Dota, mostly because the only other MOBA I've played is Pokemon Unite. I liked it, but I didn't love it, so I didn't care enough to give League of Legends a try. I might actually try it now that I have played a MOBA that I like, which is in Gekishin. And I've noticed that my skills have developed and gotten a lot better, and they still are. And I think it doesn't really matter. Why does it matter if freaking Squadra players aren't as good as League players? Why does that matter? Like, and it also just doesn't make sense. Like, if someone is a top level Squadra player and they go play something like, an example, Shroud was a top level Apex player. He stopped playing Apex, he switched to a different game. I think it was Warzone. And he was still a really good Warzone player. So, like, skill does translate. Now, just if you want to say that Dragon Ball Squadra is easier than League, which, duh, it is a casual game practically only. I mean, they're supporting competitive play. But, again, Bandai is going for the lowest common denominator, which are casual Dragon Ball fans. That skill will still translate, and they will be better off than people who have barely played MOBAs. Now, I don't know how competitive League is, or I don't know how complicated League is, or Dota, so I can't sit here and say if I got on it today, I would be a top level player. I don't know, I've never played them, but skill translates. Like, if you're good at one thing, a good example, I play card games. I competed competitively in the Pokemon TCG, and then I switched to Lorcana a couple years ago, and then I competed competitively, and I picked it up like this, because I already had those skills. I just had to learn the new system. So it's kind of untrue, this bottom one, or at the very least, it's exaggerated. So, right here, from pin various 7491, if your team plays bad, don't rotate a boss when they clearly could have, especially at high rank, then you should be allowed to troll them. No. There is no reason to troll. Honestly. If you believe this, you're part of the problem. I get it. They don't rotate a boss. It's annoying. You just want to quit. Or you want to get it over with. But dude, it's like 10 to 15 minutes. It's not going to kill you. Like, it's annoying. Trust me. You don't know how many times I have gotten mad because people don't go for boss. But there's no reason to troll. Like, it's going to lead to nothing but anger on their part and anger on your part. Maybe you feel a little satisfaction from getting one over on them, but there's no reason. Don't do it. Cell is pretty good now. from this guy 17. Before, he was considered a throw pick, but now as long as you know how to play him early, you can get perfect by second boss at the latest. The key with playing Cell is just prioritize getting bio energy early game and cover for your DPS because you will be dying a bit. I am a notorious Cell hater. not the character. I love the character. Let me check something here. Okay, so before he was considered a throw pick, Cell is pretty good now. Is he? No. I believe this is wrong. Straight wrong. A good player can play anybody. There were good players playing Bojack in Season 1. He was terrible. I'm looking at the roster for tanks right now. And I want you guys in the comments to tell me one tank I read here that you guys think is worse than Cell. We have Bardock, Vegeta, Zamasu, Caulifla, Cooler, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and Baby. I'm going to say it right now. There's only one option that you could even say, and that's Baby. And I think Baby still is better than Cell. At the very least, Baby provides support for his lane partner. Like, Cell isn't as bad as he was before, mostly because players are getting better. But as a character, if you played any of these other characters, you would have an infinitely better and easier time. Cell is not a throw pick. Like, you can be good at the game with Cell. So if you see somebody pick Cell, it's not a throw. Even though in one of my recent videos, I kind of said Cell was a throw pick. But I was just more so frustrated about how the game was going at the beginning. So I'm gonna disagree. Of course, I still think Cell is the worst tank. Next up, from Captain Yuck, we have Piccolo's Demon Whip needs a buff. For a character that is useless in CQC, it's annoying how often this move gets completely cancelled out by all the DLC characters. Guaranteed abilities that teleport/trap you. I hate when I clearly click my skill before my opponent, but it still decides not to activate. Then it goes on cooldown despite not even working. Sounds to me more like it needs bug fix. Where do you go? Where do you go with that ability? He says it needs a buff, but where do you go? It's a disengagement tool. It is a tool to get you farther away so you can do more ranged attacks. I mean, it's pretty good as is. The only two characters I'm trying to think. Okay, so Gohan can move Piccolo around. But if you get far enough away, it won't work. Vegeta can kick him and stun him. But if you get far enough away, it won't work. Bardock can pull him in. But if you get far enough away, it won't work. Honestly, it sounds to me like you just need to be playing Piccolo farther away. Now, I'm not a Piccolo player. Of course, they're gonna sneak up on you, blah, blah, blah. I kind of agree. There's a lot of disruption, there's a lot of stuns, there's a lot of this or that. I don't know where you go with it, though. Like, what buff do you give it? He's CC immune while he's using it? Like, then I would freaking hate Piccolo so much. I already don't like fighting Piccolo, because he just disappears and then you're dead. It's annoying. But I kind of agree, in a way. It's like, Piccolo only can really be used with Bardock. If you have Bardock on your team and you play Piccolo, you can pull him in and he'll special beam cannon, and Bardock can easily fight 2v1. So like, Piccolo's niche right now is Bardock solo, pretty much. So they need to do something about that, but what? What do they do? They can't make buff Piccolo stronger, because then it's going to become a game where you just sniper v sniper, and it's going to be the most annoying thing in the world. So I don't know where to go. It's like in Rivals, they can buff Black Widow, giving her a one-shot headshot, but then everybody will be mad, and she'll be super busted. It's like, what do you do? I don't know! We got Jurassic Clark 96. Surrendering right before the enemy gets the Dragon Ball is arguably a better feeling than just plain winning. Yes and no. I kind of agree, because it does feel good. But I was playing the other day, and I needed to get done the Destroy Dragon Shells quest, and it took me 2 days because they surrendered every game, and the games they didn't surrender, I couldn't reach the Dragon Shell. So there was so many games where I needed the Dragon Shell, and I couldn't get it because everyone was always surrendering, and it made me so mad. But I do agree, but for this one scenario, I got really angry because I just needed to lick the Dragon Shell. Just lick it. And they wouldn't let me. We got Jurachiki. The person with the best score stat-wise after your team surrenders should not lose points, while the lowest one should lose triple the amount. Really? This is what you think should happen? Performance-based loss is a good thing. Losing no points is outrageous. That is outrageous. You still lost. Does it suck? Yes. You still lost. You need to lose points. Less points? I agree. Triple points for the worst player? Are you serious? 60 points. Insane. Rivals did something similar. They made it to where if they did performance-based points, if you were the best on the team, sometimes you'd only lose 10, 15 points. Did really bad, you'd lose 40. Is it bad? No. Losing no points is bad. I kind of agree and disagree. One, the whole should not lose points. No, get that out of there. You lost, you lose points. Simple. You lost, you lose points. Done. If we wanted to make it where the lowest person on the team loses 35, whereas the highest only loses 20, I'd be okay with that. It's a small difference. It encourages people to play better. It encourages people to do better. If they're doing bad, they will lose faster. Triple the points? Seriously? Like, when you lose around 20 points, sometimes 25. I've seen 30 sometimes. You want that person to lose 90 points? Oh, do you want the game to die? I kind of disagree, but I agree in some way. But they even kind of have this with winning. There's been literal games where I've gotten 100 points. Alright, everybody. That is all the hot takes I gathered for this video. If you want me to do another one, leave me some of your hot takes in the comments below. Let's have some fun. I have fun making this. Let me know about your opinion on these hot takes as well. But I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Tell me how you feel, I just wanna know. Are you really real, or you just a ghost? I'm too busy overthinking. It's all about the same things. Tell me how you feel, I just wanna know. Are you really real, or you just a ghost? I'm playing to follow the leader.